I received that text from Amanda on a Tuesday afternoon. The one where she casually mentioned she wanted to see other people. 3 years together, countless memories and plans for a future, all dismissed in a single message while she enjoyed her Miami vacation. The diamond ring I had hidden in my sock drawer suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. But instead of begging or arguing, I simply typed back 2 words that changed everything. Sounds good. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away with your dignity intact. Let me know where you are watching this from, and hit that like and subscribe button if you have ever had to make a tough decision to protect your self-worth. I am Ronnie, 32 years old, a software engineer living in Boston. At least that is where this story begins. I met Amanda at my college friend's wedding 4 years ago. She was 28, a marketing executive with an infectious laugh and ambition that matched my own. She caught my attention across the reception hall, this stunning woman with auburn hair who could command the attention of everyone around her. By the end of the night, we had exchanged numbers and planned our first date. The beginning was like something out of a movie. We talked until sunrise on our first date at a 24-hour diner. Within 3 months, we were practically inseparable. By our 1-year anniversary, we had created a shared digital photo album with over 2,000 pictures together. We discussed marriage, children, and even picked out neighborhoods where we wanted to buy our first home. Amanda was everything I thought. I wanted a smart, beautiful, ambitious partner who seemed to love me completely. The first 2 years were nearly perfect. Sure, we had disagreements like any couple, but nothing major. We traveled to California, Colorado, and even spent 2 weeks exploring Italy. We met each other's families and friends. Her parents welcomed me warmly, and my mom adored her. Everyone expected us to announce an engagement any day. Looking back now, I can see the red flags that started appearing in our 3rd year together, but at the time I dismissed them as normal relationship challenges. It started with small criticisms. Amanda began making comments about my clothes, suggesting I needed to dress more professionally outside of work. Then, it was my friends. She called my best friend Derek immature and said my college buddies were holding me back. I began seeing them less to avoid her disapproval. Her social media presence grew increasingly important to her. Every dinner event or activity had to be photographed and shared. She would retake photos dozens of times to get the perfect image, often leaving food to get cold or missing actual conversations. She began measuring our experiences by the likes and comments they generated, rather than by our enjoyment. Then came the unexplained absences. Amanda would cancel our plans last minute, claiming work emergencies or sudden plans with colleagues I had never met. When I asked questions, she would turn it around, accusing me of not supporting her career or being controlling. I backed off, not wanting to appear insecure. The most telling change came when she changed her phone password. For 3 years, we had known each other's passcodes, not because we snooped, but because of the trust we shared. One day I noticed the code no longer worked. When I asked about it casually, she became defensive, accusing me of trying to invade her privacy. I let it go, but something felt different after that. Our intimacy declined significantly over the last 6 months. Passionate kisses became quick pecks. Meaningful conversations about our future were replaced with surface-level discussions about work or social events. When I tried to talk about it, Amanda blamed stress or fatigue. I believed her, or perhaps I wanted to believe her. Then Jason entered the picture, a new coworker who quickly became Amanda's close friend. He was wealthy, connected, and, according to Amanda, an important networking contact. She began mentioning his name in almost every conversation. Jason knew someone who could help with her promotion. Jason had connections with luxury brands for her marketing projects. Jason had invited her team to networking events at exclusive venues. When Amanda announced she was going to Miami for a week with work friends, my instinct told me something was off. She had been vague about the details, who exactly was going, where they were staying. what the purpose of the trip was. She packed differently than for her usual business trips, more swimwear evening dresses, less work attire. When I asked if I could drive her to the airport, she insisted on taking a rideshare. The day before she left, I needed to check our shared cloud storage for concert tickets we had purchased months ago. When I logged in, her laptop was still connected, and a message notification from Jason appeared. Looking forward to Miami. Just us this time. The hotel suite has a private view of the ocean. I closed the message feeling sick to my stomach, but I still wasn't ready to accept what was happening. It was the fourth day of Amanda's Miami trip when everything changed. I was working from home, trying to focus on a coding project, while ignoring the gnawing feeling in my stomach. Her social media had been suspiciously quiet. No posts, no stories, nothing to indicate what she was doing or who she was with. My phone buzzed at 2:15 in the afternoon. Amanda's message was brief but devastating, Ronnie. I have been thinking about us and where we are going. I feel like I need some space and freedom at this point in my life. I want to see other people and explore what else is out there. Hope you understand. The physical reaction was immediate. My hands went numb. My stomach clenched into a painful knot. The room seemed to spin slightly as 3 years of memories flashed through my mind rapid fire. Our first kiss on the harbor walk. The weekend trip to Maine, where we got caught in a rainstorm and ended up laughing in a small cafe for hours. The Christmas she surprised me with concert tickets to my favorite band. The night we stayed up planning our future home sketching room layouts on napkins. But alongside these happy memories came the realization that had been forming in the back of my mind for months. This was not a sudden decision made in Miami. This had been building, perhaps happening right under my nose for longer than I wanted to admit. The late nights at the office, the work trips that had become more frequent, the emotional distance that had grown between us. With shaking hands, I opened Instagram and checked a mutual friend's story. There it was, the evidence I hadn't wanted to find. Amanda tagged at an exclusive beach club in Miami Champaign, glass in hand pressed against Jason's side, his arm wrapped possessively around her waist. The caption read, "Power couple vibes." This was not a work trip. It never had been. I sat in our apartment. The apartment we had carefully furnished together, filled with photos of our life for 3 hours, alternating between rage, grief, and shock. I called in sick for my afternoon meetings, unable to form coherent thoughts, let alone discuss software architecture. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across our living room, something shifted inside me. A calm clarity replaced the emotional storm. I had been a good partner. I had been loyal, supportive, and loving. I had compromised and grown and worked on our relationship. I deserved better than a text message from a beach vacation with another man. I picked up my phone and typed 2 words. "Sounds good." Then I blocked her number. I called Derek, my best friend, the one Amanda had tried to distance me from. Derek answered on the second ring. "You okay, man? You never call during work hours. I need your help." I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "Amanda is cheating on me in Miami. She wants to see other people. I am moving out before she gets back." There was a brief silence. Then, without hesitation, "What do you need? When do we start?" "Tomorrow morning," I replied. "I need boxes, a truck, and somewhere to crash for a while." "Consider it done," Derek said. "I will call the guys." I spent that evening making arrangements. I called our landlord, briefly explaining the situation. To my surprise, he was understanding. Since both our names were on the lease, I would still be responsible for my half of the rent until we sorted things out legally, but he gave me permission to remove my belongings. I contacted a local moving company and paid extra for next day's service. I made a list of everything that was mine, everything that was hers, and everything we had purchased together. For shared items, I decided to leave them all. Material things could be replaced. My self-respect could not. That night was one of the longest of my life. I looked through old photos, allowing myself to cry to feel the full weight of what was ending. But by morning, as sunlight filtered through the blinds, Amanda had insisted on buying determination, had replaced despair. Derek arrived at 8 a.m., sharp, along with two other friends, Steve and Marcus. They brought coffee donuts and more packing supplies than I could possibly need. Their presence was a powerful reminder that despite Amanda's efforts to isolate me from my friends, these bonds remained strong. We worked methodically, room by room. My clothes, my books, my records, my computer equipment and gaming console. The vintage camera collection my grandfather had left me that Amanda had always considered clutter. The guitar I had stopped playing because she complained about the noise. In the back of our closet, I found a shoebox I had never seen before. Inside were receipts from hotels and Boston dates when Amanda had claimed to be working late. A keycard from a luxury hotel downtown. Movie ticket stubs for films she had supposedly seen with her girlfriends. The evidence of betrayal was comprehensive and dated back nearly a year. By 6 p.m., the apartment looked strangely half-empty. My books no longer filled the shelves. My clothes no longer hung in the closet. My presence had been carefully extracted, as if a surgeon had removed me from our shared life with precision. I took one final look around the space that had been my home, left my keys on the kitchen counter, and walked out the door. I settled into Derek's spare bedroom that evening, physically exhausted but mentally alert. We ordered pizza, drank a few beers, and for the first time in months, I felt a strange sense of freedom despite the pain. Amanda was scheduled to return from Miami 2 days later. As her return approached, my phone began to fill with notifications. Unable to reach me through calls or texts, since I had blocked her number, she had resorted to emails, social media messages, even contacting me through work channels. The messages evolved predictably: confusion, anger, pleading threats, and finally panic. "Where are you? Why did you block me? We need to talk. You cannot just disappear. Answer me. I am coming home early." I maintained my silence. On the day of her return, Amanda video called me from our apartment. I answered, wanting to face this moment head-on. The camera showed her standing in our half-empty living room, mascara streaked down her face. "Ronnie, what have you done? Where is all your stuff? Where are you?" I kept my voice calm and factual. "I moved out. As you said, you want to see other people, so I am giving you the space to do that." "This is not what I meant," she cried. "I was just confused. It was just a phase. Jason means nothing to me." "Who is Jason?" I asked, though I knew exactly who he was. Her face fell, realizing her mistake. She had never officially introduced us or explained their relationship. No one, she backtracked. "Just a coworker." "The coworker you were with in Miami?" "On your work trip?" I asked. She began crying harder. "It just happened. He pursued me so hard. He promised me so many things. But he dumped me after the weekend. He just wanted one thing. It was a horrible mistake. I realized how much I love you. I was going to come home and beg for forgiveness." I could almost feel sorry for her, watching her world collapse. "Almost. You have been cheating for months," I said quietly. This was not a one-time mistake in Miami. Her expression changed defiance, replacing desperation. "How would you know? Have you been spying on me?" "I found your box of receipts and hotel keys," I replied. But honestly, I knew something was wrong long before that. I just did not want to see it. "What happens now?" she demanded. "You cannot just throw away 3 years. They were thrown away when you decided to cheat," I replied. "I will contact you about the lease and other practical matters through email. Please do not try to see me in person." She shifted tactics again. "My parents will be devastated. They love you. What am I supposed to tell them?" "The truth would be a good start," I answered. In the days that followed, the fallout spread through our social circles. Some mutual friends took her side, believing her version that she had made one mistake and I had overreacted. Others supported my decision, particularly those who had witnessed the subtle changes in our relationship over time. Amanda escalated her attempts to reach me. She showed up at my workplace, causing such a scene in the lobby that security was called. To my surprise, my boss called me into his office afterward, not to reprimand me, but to offer support. "Take whatever time you need," he said. "We have all been there in some form." Perhaps the most unexpected development came when Amanda's cousin Rachel reached out to me. We had always gotten along well, but family loyalty had kept our relationship peripheral. I was hesitant to meet her, suspecting Amanda had sent her as an emissary, but agreed to coffee one afternoon. "I thought you should know," Rachel said, after we had exchanged awkward greetings. "This was not her first time doing this. She did the same thing to her ex before you. The nice guy who moved to Seattle." I had always believed Amanda's version of that breakup, that he had left her for a job opportunity, breaking her heart in the process. Learning that this was a pattern rather than an isolated mistake somehow made it both better and worse. Over the next few weeks, Amanda cycled through various strategies to win me back. She sent extravagant gifts to Derek's apartment, which I returned unopened. She enlisted mutual friends to plead her case. She even contacted my mother, who thankfully respected my decision enough to simply inform me of the call without pressure. The hardest part was maintaining no contact. Despite everything, 3 years of loving someone creates powerful habits and connections. There were moments when my finger hovered over her number, when memories ambushed me in unguarded moments, when the temptation to give her another chance felt overwhelming. But each time I reminded myself of the evidence, the patterns, the disrespect inherent in her actions. Each time I chose myself. 6 weeks after moving out, I signed a lease on a small apartment in a different neighborhood. The day I moved in my new place, the first time I had ever lived, completely alone, was both terrifying and exhilarating. That night I ordered takeout, sat on my one piece of furniture, a second-hand couch. Derek had helped me transport and experienced a moment of peace amidst the ongoing pain. This was mine. This was the beginning of something new. 6 months passed, each day a small step toward healing. The first weeks were the hardest. I lost 15 pounds due to lack of appetite. Sleep became elusive, my mind replaying memories and conversations, looking for signs I had missed. I questioned my judgment, my worth, my ability to trust my own perceptions. But gradually, with time and distance, perspective returned. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Mason, who helped me process not just the betrayal but the subtle emotional manipulation that had characterized the latter part of our relationship. How had I not noticed? Amanda slowly isolating me from friends. How had I accepted her increasing criticism as normal? "You were in it," Dr. Mason explained. "It is like the frog in slowly heating water. Changes that would be obvious to outsiders become normalized when they happen gradually." Those therapy sessions became an anchor in my week, a space where I could honestly examine my role in the relationship without taking responsibility for Amanda's choices. I reconnected with old friends, realizing how many relationships I had allowed to fade under Amanda's influence. My college roommate Thomas and I resumed our tradition of monthly poker nights. My high school friend William, who Amanda had deemed too irresponsible to be around, invited me hiking, an activity I had abandoned but once loved. I established new routines: morning runs along the river, evening cooking classes, where I learned to make dishes more complex than the basic meals I had relied on, a weekend hiking group where the physical exertion and natural beauty provided dual therapy. Work became another form of healing. Without the constant drain of an unhealthy relationship, I found new focus and creativity. I led a major project reimagining our company's core software architecture, working late, not to avoid going home, but because I was genuinely engaged. 3 months ago, that work earned me a promotion and significant raise, enough to begin looking at purchasing a small condo rather than continuing to rent. I ran into Amanda exactly once, 4 months after our breakup. I was at the grocery store examining avocados when I heard her voice at the end of the aisle. For a moment I froze, prepared for the rush of emotion, anger, longing, pain. But when I looked up and saw her, I felt something unexpected, nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. I felt the mild discomfort you might feel seeing any acquaintance you would rather avoid, but the power she had once held over my emotions was gone. She noticed me too, her eyes widening in recognition. She took a half step forward, then stopped, seemingly unsure. I nodded politely and turned away, continuing my shopping. She did not approach. Later, I heard through mutual friends that she was dating someone new, but it had already turned tumultuous. I found I could genuinely wish her well, without wanting any place in her life. Perhaps the most unexpected development in my recovery was Ellie. I met her at the dog park, where I often went to read on weekends, enjoying the energy of the playful animals, even though I did not own one myself. She was a veterinarian with a spirited golden retriever named Cooper, who had an uncanny ability to find the muddiest puddles in the park. Our first conversation happened when Cooper shook his mud-drenched fur too close to my book. Ellie was mortified, offering to replace the book and buy me coffee as an apology. I laughed genuinely for what felt like the first time in months, and suggested we start with just the coffee. Unlike the whirlwind beginning with Amanda, my connection with Ellie built slowly. First as dog park acquaintances, then as coffee friends, eventually as dinner companions. I was honest about my recent breakup, about my ongoing process of healing. She shared her own story of a divorce 2 years prior, of the work she had done to become ready for connection again. We are still just friends, carefully getting to know each other without expectations. But her presence in my life has restored something I had lost. The belief that healthy relationships are possible, that trust can be rebuilt, that vulnerability need not lead to devastation. The greatest lesson from this painful chapter has been understanding the importance of self-respect as the foundation for all other relationships. By choosing myself that day, by replying, "Sounds good," instead of begging Amanda to reconsider, I changed the entire trajectory of my healing. I established a boundary that allowed me to recover with dignity intact. I learned to recognize red flags, inconsistencies in stories, gradual isolation from support networks, criticism disguised as help, privacy suddenly deemed secrecy. These are lessons I will carry forward, not as walls to prevent future connection, but as healthy boundaries to ensure any new relationship is built on mutual respect. Most importantly, I have learned that losing someone who does not truly value you is not actually a loss. It is a redirect toward what you deserve. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to protect your self-worth? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more authentic life stories. And if you know someone who is struggling to find the strength to choose themselves, share this video with them. Remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is goodbye. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the courage to always honor your worth no matter how difficult the circumstance.